The other day I was reading a report and came across some very alarming statistics. And in this report, it said that 77% of organizations cite a lack of leadership. Now think about that. 77% say they lack leadership. Not only that, but it also said that of supervisors in organizations, only 18% feel as if they're enabled and have the skills to actually help develop the leadership potential in others. Now, that goes really to what the core purpose and function of a leader really is. I think in one of my past videos, I had mentioned that the sole purpose of a leader is not necessarily to lead people, but it is to develop the leaders around them. So in other words, a true leader puts forth every single bit of effort and intentionality to develop the leadership potential in those around them. That's what their purpose is. But yet, according to this report, only 18% of organizational leaders feel as if they're skilled to do so. Now here's another alarming statistic. Now we just talked a few moments ago about how 77% of organizations say they lack leadership. Now when we look at millennials, the individuals who are on the precipice of becoming the next wave of leaders in an organization, 63% of them, 63% of millennials say that they're underdeveloped and they're not ready or really know how to elevate up to a leadership type position. Now, if those statistics don't cause you to be alarmed, I really don't know what would, because they point out to several different things. Number one, it's clearly obvious that our society and our organizations, we lack leaders. And that report, reinforces that notion. But it's not just that, though. Of those that actually do have effective leaders, or of the ones that say they have effective leaders, only 18% of them have the skills to develop the leadership potential of others around them. Now, if we look at the millennials, who are the next wave of leaders, most of them do not feel that they're developed to the point of becoming a leader. So what does that say? It says, number one, that we have a lapse in leadership today, but not only that, but that the forecast of going into the future doesn't really look too great in terms of future leadership. Now, the thing that I find really surprising and even maybe somewhat funny in this is that if you go and talk to a lot of organizational leaders about leadership and their organization, a lot of them feel as if they have all of their bases covered. A lot of them even have the mindset that, well, I'm a leader, I'm doing a good job, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm good enough. But the reality is that it's a different tune out there for others in the organization and for the reality of the organization. So what does this mean? It really means that if you're an organizational leader, you've got to go back to the basics and rediscover your passion and your fire. I really believe that most people who are in leadership positions at one time or another had this real desire to go out and develop themselves. They were lifelong learners. They consumed a lot of material, whether it was reading books, taking part in training sessions, or whatever, but they wanted to become the best version of themselves that they could get to be. But unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, when they get into those roles, that they have so many other duties and tasks that are put on their plate that maintaining their edge falls to the wayside. And as a result, we get into a situation like we're in today, where we have a lack of leaders. So my question is, is where are you at? And not just you, where is your organization at? And I encourage you to take a real, honest, objective look at yourself and your organization and determine where you are at and where your organization is at in terms of leadership. Not just now, but in the future. Because although an overwhelming majority of organizations say that leadership development and succession planning is important for us, very, very few, in fact less than 5%, actually implement leadership development and succession planning fully. So where do you fall on that spectrum? What can be improved? And more importantly, what are you going to do today to start working towards improvement?